Welcome to another deep dive, everybody. And today we're heading to Mongolia.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited about this one. We're going way beyond the usual tourist stuff, though.
Okay.
We're drawing from this really passionate YouTuber's perspective. They're not an academic or anything,
Yeah.
but their enthusiasm is, like, infectious. And I think you're going to be surprised by some of the stuff we uncover.
I'm intrigued already. A non-academic take can be really refreshing, especially for a place like Mongolia. It's so rich culturally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So get ready to learn, not just about, like, the history, but what daily life is actually like there.
Sounds good.
So to kick things off, let's start with a fact that absolutely blew my mind. Genghis Khan's empire
Yeah.
wasn't just big. It was larger than Russia, China, and India combined.
Wow. Yeah, that's a powerful image. Really speaks to the scale of his impact, doesn't it?
It does.
But it's important to remember, we're not just talking about military conquest here. From a Mongolian perspective, Genghis Khan is revered. He's a unifier, a brilliant strategist who brought all these different tribes together under one banner.
Yeah, the video really emphasizes that. But thinking about that level of expansion, what kind of impact did it have on the world outside of Mongolia's borders?
Well, for one, it completely reshaped the Silk Road. It turned it into a truly global trade network. Goods, ideas, even technologies flowing from east to west like never before.
Huh.
And the exchange wasn't just one way either.
Oh.
Mongolia was also influenced by all the cultures they came into contact with. It enriched their own traditions and practices.
So Genghis Khan's empire was almost like a catalyst for globalization centuries ago.
Precisely. And it highlights how interconnected the world has been for far longer than we often realize.
Fascinating. Okay, so from a massive empire to a massive capital city, Ulaanbaatar.
Yeah.
The video says the entire country of Luxembourg could fit inside its city limits.
It's true. It's a city of vast spaces, and that has a direct impact on its population density. A mere 2 people per square kilometer.
Yeah. 2 people per square kilometer. I can't even wrap my head around that kind of space. What does that even feel like?
Well, imagine driving for miles and seeing only a handful of buildings, vast stretches of open land, and a sky that seems to go on forever.
Wow.
It creates a sense of expansiveness, a unique tranquility that's hard to find in more densely populated areas.
That sounds incredible, especially during winter. The video was describing these snow-covered landscapes under a sky full of stars. They even mentioned these festive lights illuminating the streets, almost magical.
It's a side of Ulaanbaatar that often gets overlooked, but it shows how the city embraces the beauty of its natural surroundings, even in the depths of winter.
That's a perfect transition to something else the video highlighted: food.
Yeah.
And I have to admit, the story of how Mongolian ice cream came about is just delightful.
Oh, yeah. Warriors in the scorching desert heat mixing snow with mare's milk.
It's so ingenious.
Right. It's a testament to human creativity, finding ways to cope with even the harshest conditions.
It makes you wonder what other surprising culinary traditions Mongolia holds.
Oh.
I mean, they mentioned sheep eyeball juice,
Yes.
and apparently it's a hangover cure.
That's right.
Really?
It might sound unusual, even unappetizing to some, but it's important to consider the cultural context.
Right.
In Mongolia, animal husbandry is deeply ingrained in their way of life. So utilizing every part of the animal is both practical and symbolic.
So it's not just about the taste, it's about respect for the animal.
Exactly. A deep connection to their resources. And it reminds us that our own cultural backgrounds shape what we consider normal or acceptable when it comes to food.
Absolutely. Speaking of culture, the video really brought the nomadic lifestyle to life. You know, they described waking up in a gur, that's their traditional dwelling, surrounded by these incredible landscapes.
Yeah.
It wasn't just the visuals either. They talked about the smells, the sounds, the feeling of being so connected to nature.
And let's not forget the role animals play in this lifestyle. Horses, sheep, goats, yaks, camels. They're not just livestock, they're essential companions for survival in those harsh conditions.
Right. And the video even touched on how that dependence on animals has shaped these unique social structures, like walking marriages,
Yes.
where men might be away for extended periods of time. I'm curious to learn more about that.
It's a fascinating example of how environment and lifestyle directly influence social norms. Walking marriages, as practiced by certain nomadic communities, challenge our conventional understanding of family structures.
That's for sure.
It's worth exploring how they function within the context of Mongolian nomadic life.
Definitely. And it seems like there's so much more to Mongolia than those stereotypical images of nomads and vast grasslands.
Of course.
They even mentioned that Mongolia is a hotspot for dinosaur fossils, including relatives of the T-Rex.
It's true. Mongolia's vast, undisturbed landscapes have yielded some of the most important paleontological discoveries in recent years. It's amazing what they've found there.
Wow, dinosaurs in Mongolia.
Yeah.
I always picture them in North America. That's what I love about these deep dives. You never know what you're going to uncover.
Precisely. And it's not just ancient history that comes to life in Mongolia. The video also highlighted eagle hunting,
Oh, yeah?
a tradition that's still practiced today. It connects them to their warrior past.
Right, hunters training golden eagles to hunt prey like foxes and rabbits. It sounds incredible. I'm sensing a theme here, this deep connection to their heritage, whether it's through food or lifestyle or even those ancient traditions.
It's a thread that runs deep in Mongolian culture. And perhaps one of the most vibrant expressions of that connection is the Nadam festival.
Oh, the video called the Mongolian Olympics.
Hmm.
They talked about wrestling, horse racing, and archery.
Hmm.
The three skills of men, as they put it. Sounds intense.
It's a spectacle of athleticism and cultural pride.
Yeah.
And while it's traditionally been male-dominated, women are increasingly participating in all aspects of Nadam now.
That's great to hear.
Hmm.
But the video also touched on a more sensitive topic, bride kidnapping. They said it's illegal now, but it existed in the past. What's the story there?
Well, that's a complex issue. And while the video didn't go into it deeply, it's crucial to understand the historical and societal factors that contributed to such practices, obviously without condoning them in any way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that even when exploring a culture with enthusiasm, we need to acknowledge the complexities and sometimes darker aspects of its past. I think it's time we take a deeper dive into some of these nuances. We were just talking about how Mongolia has all these unexpected layers.
Yeah.
It's not just the vast landscapes and the nomadic traditions.
Right.
There's this depth of history and cultural influence that I'm really starting to appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
The video even mentioned religion,
Oh, right.
highlighting the role of Tibetan Buddhism.
Yeah, over half of Mongolians identify as Buddhist. And the video showed that Gandan Monastery in Ulaanbaatar, home to the largest statue of Buddha in Mongolia. It's pretty striking visually. Really represents the faith's importance.
And it's not just Buddhism, is it?
No.
The video mentioned something called Tengrism.
Ah, yes, Tengrism. That's an ancient belief system, actually. Predates Buddhism in the region.
Oh, wow.
It's a form of shamanism that revolves around the worship of the sky god, Tengri. While it's less prevalent today, you can still see its influence in Mongolian culture,
Interesting.
particularly in their reverence for nature.
So it's like these different belief systems, Buddhism, Tengrism, even some shamanism, all kind of coexist there, creating this unique spiritual landscape.
Exactly. It shows a tolerance and acceptance of these different spiritual practices. And that's a theme we see in many aspects of Mongolian culture.
Hearing you describe all this really brings me back to the video's portrayal of nomadic life.
Yeah.
They didn't just show us the gore, they immersed us in the experience. The smell of fresh mountain air, the golden sunlight filtering through the tent opening. I felt like I was right there.
That's the power of storytelling, right?
Yeah.
Transporting us to another place and time allows us to connect with a way of life that might seem so different from our own.
Totally. And the video went beyond that, romanticized view of nomadic life, too.
Yeah.
Showed us the practicalities,
Uh-huh.
their meals. They talked about yak milk being a staple. Provides energy for a long day of herding or tending to the gyr.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that this lifestyle, as beautiful as it is, demands resilience and resourcefulness. They use what's available in their environment for everything, from clothing to shelter.
Right. And speaking of resourcefulness, I keep thinking back to those walking marriages. It's such a unique social structure.
Yeah.
So different from the nuclear family we often see here in the West.
Yeah.
The video suggested it might be tied to the demands of nomadic life, with men often away from home for long periods.
That's a key insight. It really highlights how cultural practices often evolve in response to environmental and social pressures. In the context of Mongolian nomadic life, where mobility is so important and resources can be scarce, walking marriages, with their flexible partnerships and shared responsibilities, they might offer a practical solution for maintaining family units and ensuring the well-being of children.
It really challenges our assumptions about what a family should look like, doesn't it?
It does. It underscores the importance of understanding cultural practices within their own unique context.
Okay. So we've talked about spirituality, nomadic life, and even family structures. But there's one element that seems to be woven through it all: horses.
Of course.
The video mentioned that Mongolia has more horses than people.
It's true. And it just goes to show the profound connection between Mongolians and these animals. They're not just a means of transportation, they represent freedom, strength, a deep connection to their nomadic heritage.
I can only imagine what it must be like to grow up riding horses, feeling that sense of freedom as you navigate those vast landscapes. And speaking of horses, the video also showed those incredible races during the Nadam festival, alongside the wrestling and archery.
Right, the three skills of men, showcasing the strength, agility, and precision that were so essential for survival in their nomadic past.
Exactly.
And while traditionally those skills were primarily associated with men, the video did show women participating in archery competitions as well.
That's fantastic. It sounds like the Nadam Festival isn't just about preserving those traditions, but also reflecting the evolving roles of women in Mongolian society.
Precisely. It's a dynamic event, a celebration of their heritage that continues to adapt and evolve.
You know, it's striking to me how Mongolia seems to be balancing this deep connection to its past with its journey into the modern world. The video even mentioned the country's transition to democracy in 1990.
Yeah.
A pretty recent shift after decades of communist rule.
It was a pivotal